Hi guys, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
So today we'll finish our binomial theorem with multinomial theorem. Right, that's the plan for today. So and then we'll directly get into matrices and determinants. Okay. So yeah. So binomial theorem we learned. If you have to expand any x plus y whole power n, you write this as sigma r equal to 0 to n. Okay. NCR x power n minus r y power r. So to get the connect, I'll write NCR as n factorial by n minus r factorial into r factorial. This will be the binomial part and the multinomial part. Okay, so if you have any x plus y plus z or x plus y plus z plus w plus u, like you have more than two terms inside. Okay, and you want to raise it to some power n, how you do it is you write sigma. Okay, there's a condition here. The condition I'll explain now. But then rest everything is the same. Okay, n factorial. Okay, into x power n minus r. Okay, so here look at binomial theorem. X power k1 I'll write this and then y power k2. Okay, x power something into y power something. That's the idea. Into n factorial by k1 factorial into k2 factorial. Basically, this is what you have, right? And the condition you make sure is that k1 plus k2 is equal to n. Okay, did you understand what I did here in binomial theorem? How I modified it?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
x bar k1, y bar k2 into n factorial by k1 into k2, k1 factorial, k2 factorial, such that k1 plus k2 is equal to n. So wherever k1 plus k2 is equal to n, this is applicable, right? So that's the idea. So similarly, you write it as n factorial into, so suppose x you will assign k1 and y you will assign k2 and z you will assign k3. Okay, there will be x bar k1, y bar k2, z bar k3. So this will be added up in such a way that k1 plus k2 plus k3 is equal to n. So this is basically by multinomial theorem. So if you have more terms like x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4 plus xr, okay, so there are like r different terms raised to n. How would you add it up? Sigma n factorial by, so each of them you assign k1, k2, k3, and k1, k2, k3 and all are nothing but all the way up to kr. Okay, they are nothing but integers from 0 to n. Okay, so they can be anything in between. So k1 factorial, k2 factorial, all the way up till kr factorial into x1 per k1 into x2 per k2 into x3 per k3 all the way up till xr per kr, and this is added up in such a way that k1 plus k2 plus k3 all the way up till kr is equal to n. All of you with me here?
Sir, no,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Purila, sir.
Which one? Which part? Which part?
Sir, x1 plus x2 plus x till xv. Why v, sir? I don't get it.
This part did you understand? X plus y plus z raised to n.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So replace x with x1, replace y with x2, and replace z with x3. Basically, I'm just renaming the variable. Hmm. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So then what happens? Then can you relate both of them? Now. Hmm. So suppose there are different parts. So that example I showed you had three different parts. Okay, so it's a trinomial. Hmm. But multinomial theorem applies to anything beyond binomial theorem. Okay, like x plus y raised to n has two parts, x and y. So that's why binomial. Hmm. Multinomial means more than two parts. Okay, so that's why I wrote r parts like x1, x2, all the way up till xr. Okay, and this is how it comes up to. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir. Now I did.
Okay. Yeah, it's just an extension of binomial theorem. Think of it like that. Okay, but then Please remember this way of writing it. And understand this first. All right. Then you'll be sorted. So, yeah, let's do one question. 4 minus 3x.
Sir, actually your voice is breaking, sir. Is it just
Oh.
for me or for others also?
Guys, is my audio clear?
Yes, sir. For us, it's clear.
Okay.
Okay, sir, I'll just check it.
Just re-log in or something. Just check the internet connection speed or something. But Lakshmi, did you
All right,
understand what
sir.
I was explaining here? Did you understand that?
Yes, sir, I understood
Okay.
that.
If the voice breaks, just raise your hand or just say like this. I'll mention it again clearly. Okay, if it's not clear. So, yeah. Now, okay. So you have 4 minus 3x plus 7x square raised to 20. Find coefficient of x power 5. Okay, find the coefficient of x power 5. This is your task. So how do you do this? When you expand this, first you'll expand this naturally. Okay, sigma 4 power k1 minus 3x power k2 and 7x square power k3 divided by k1 factorial, k2 factorial, k3 factorial. All right, into 20 factorial. 20 factorial divided by k1 factorial, k2 factorial, k3 factorial. That is there on the side, and this will be there. Okay, so this you are adding in such a way that k1 plus k2 plus k3 is equal to 20. Okay, and here we are looking for the coefficient of x power 5. So this I'll rewrite again. Okay, the sigma part remains the same. This will come here. Okay, and then the remaining part will be 4 power k1 minus 3 power k2, 7 power k3 into 20 factorial divided by k1 factorial, k2 factorial, k3 factorial, and the x terms we have to bring in. Okay, x power k2 into x power 2k3. So I'll write that as x power k2 plus 2k3. Any doubts here? All right. I
Sir,
assume
I
there is no
didn't
doubt.
get
What
x
have you
power
done in the
k2.
last, sir?
Oh, wait. Siddharth, you asked first. What is it?
Sir, I didn't understand that x power k2 plus 2k3.
Okay. So it's this one, right? Minus 3 power k2. I wrote that as minus 3 power k2 into x power k2. Okay. And then 7 into x square power k3. So I'll write that as 7 power k3 into x square power k3, which I'll write as x power 2k3. Now I multiplied both of them. The exponents simply add up.
Yes, sir, got it, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Lakshmi, what did you ask?
Same doubt, sir.
Same doubt. Okay, lovely. So got this? Got this now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we are looking for like two conditions to be satisfied. K1 plus K2 plus K3 equal to 20. While at the same time, K2 plus 2K3, the power of X should be equal to 5. Okay, when do we get this? This is what we need to figure out basically. You see that 2K3 is there, which means 2K3 is even. That means that sum of something plus even number is 5. So 5 is odd. So K3 has to be odd. Sorry, K2 has to be odd. Is the logic clear to everybody? Odd plus even is equal to odd. Like 2K3 is anyway even. Okay, K2 plus even number equal to 5. So K2 can take number 0. Sorry, K2 cannot become 0 because 0 is even. Even plus even has to give even. K2 can be 1. K2 can be 3. K2 can be 5. Okay, these are the possibilities. So when K2 is 1, okay, wait. I have to find K1, K2, and K3. Like different cases are there. So they are what I add up. So K1 we'll figure it out. K2 can take values 1, 3, and 5. Is this part clear to everybody?
Sir, I have another doubt, sir.
Yes, please. Ask.
Sir, from where did we get x to the power 5, sir?
It was there in the question. It was there in the question. You have to find the coefficient of x power 5 in this.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. Right. So, yeah, K2 can take odd numbers like this. K2 plus 2K3 equal to 5. So 1 plus 2 into 2 equal to 5, which means K3 is equal to 2 when K2 is equal to 1. 3 plus 2 into 1 equal to 5, which means K3 is 1. 5 plus 2 into 0 equal to 5. Look, K1, K2, K3 have to be an integer between 0 and 5. Okay, that goes with, 0 and 20. N is equal to 20. Okay, so these are the permissible values. They have to be integer also. So here, how do I find K1? I use this equation, such as sum is equal to 20. So the sum equal to 20, K1 should be 17 here, K1 should be 16 here, K1 should be 15 here. Is this much clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we substitute the values into this. Like my answer would simply be adding this part up, right? When I substitute the values. So these are all the cases such that I get x power 5 in the expansion. Okay, these are all the possible cases here. So I'll just put it here. So first part will be 4 power 17 into minus 3 power 1 into 7 square into 20 factorial divided by A1, A2, A3 factorial plus the next part. I use this one. So that will be 4 power 16 minus 3 power 3 into 7 power 2 into 20 factorial. 20 factorial divided by 16 factorial, 1 factorial, 3 factorial. So this
Sir,
I
it's
add.
7 power 1, sir.
Oh yeah, it's 7 power 1. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Correct. We have 4 power 15, the next term, minus 3 power 5, 7 power 0 into 20 factorial. Once again. Into 20 factorial divided by K1 factorial, K2 factorial, K3 factorial. So this will be a final answer. Okay, guys? Got this? What did we do here? I expanded it. And then in the expansion, I know I was looking for x power 5. So how many ways can I get x power 5? I figured out that I can get it in 3 ways. Right? Like trial and error literally it is. Okay. So those are the 3 cases in which you can get this satisfied. Okay, x power 5. So then you plug in the values of K1, K2, K3 for those different cases into this general form. And then add them up. That's it. Okay. I hope this was clear to all of you.
So we don't have to simplify it further, sir.
It depends on the options here. So you can take 20 factorial common, 4 power something common. All of that you can do. 4 power 15, I think you can take common. So the thing is,
sir.
you can do that. But right now, in my question, it's not required.
Sir,
Right,
2K3 came because it was x square power K3, correct, sir?
Yeah, 2K3 came because it was x square power K3. Absolutely. Thank you. Correct.
Yes, sir.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, this is multinomial theorem. And the final topic here will be binomial for any index. Basically, we learned when the index means that n part, okay, thing on top, is an integer. Okay, is a positive integer. That is what we learned for binomial theorem. But if it's given that mod x less than 1, then we can say that 1 plus x power n can be written as 1 plus nx plus n into n minus 1 by 2 into x square plus n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 by 3 factorial into x cubed. So I can write this as 2 factorial, I can write this as 1 factorial. And so on. It becomes an infinite series. That's the idea. Okay. So you can see this, right? This n is nothing but nc1. n into n minus 1 by 2 is nc2. N into n minus 1 into n minus 2 by 3 factorial is nc3, and so on. So this is similar, but then nc1, nc2, nc3 like is not defined when n is not a positive integer, right? So for those cases, you basically write it this way. Okay, for the remaining cases, for any rational number n, this is how you deal with it. Is this clear to everybody? We just take 1 plus x power minus 1 by 3 and expand it, please. Expand this. What do you get? 1. Guys, are you following what I'm saying? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So n into x plus n into n minus 1, which is minus 4 by 3 by 2 factorial into x square plus minus 1 by 3 minus 4 by 3 minus 7 by 3 divided by 3 factorial into x cube, and so on. It becomes an infinite series. So this is the important condition here. Mod x is less than 1. Okay. This is just like binomial theorem. You just need to remember it last minute. But did you get the idea what we do here?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, next subtopic is divisibility. Okay. So, yeah, write this down. Write this note down. To find the last digits of n raised to m. Okay, I'm not writing it, so you write it down. To find the last digits, last k digits of n power m, you have to express this in terms of 10k plus or minus 1. All right, and then expand. Is this much clear? And then did you write it down? To find the last k digits of n power m, express this base n. Okay, in n should be expressed as 10k plus or minus 1, and then expand using binomial theorem. So this application is beautiful. Example, find last 2 digits of 3 power 73. Okay, find the last 2 digits of 3 power 73. What would you do here? You see, it's n power m, which should be expressed as 10k plus or minus 1. So 3 power 73, I'll write it as 3. What is this? Okay, I'll write this as 3 into 3 power 72. You'll understand why I'm doing this, because I'll write this as 9 in 9 power 36. Is this much clear to everybody till here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I told you that 10k plus or minus 1 form is what I have to convert this base 3 into. So for that, what I did was, I know that 3 square is 9. Okay. If I write, if it was 7 power 73, you know that 7 square is 49. So that you can write as 50 minus 1. 3 power is 9, which is 10 minus 1. Okay. So if you had another way of taking care of 3 is 3 power 4. What is 3 power 4? That's 81. I can write that as 80 plus 1. Okay. Then 9. 9 square is 81, which I can write as 80 plus 1. This is like a general key for you. When you have a number ending with 3, just square it. You know you'll get 9 in the last digit. When you have a number ending with 7, square it. Like 3, 7, or 9, just square it. Okay, you will get some k minus 1, some 10k minus 1 in this case. Okay. 10k plus or minus 1, sorry. All right. So, what do you do here? You write this as 3 into 10 minus 1 raised to 36. Is this much clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
We are about to find the
Yes,
last
sir.
two digits, okay? This is going to be fun. So this can be written as 36C36 minus 1 power 36 plus 36C35 minus 1 power 35 into 10 plus 36C34 minus 1 power 34 into 100 plus 36C33. You don't need to go till here, okay? But for first time I'm explaining it, so I'm going to leave into 1000 and so on. Right? There will be like 37 terms when you expand this, but I'm not writing the rest. Remember, you're looking for the last two digits here. Okay. Guys, are you with me till here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So 36, sorry, 3 into, what is 36? 36. That's 1. Minus
Into
1 power
1.
36 is also 1. Next, 36C35 is 36. Minus 1 power 35 is minus 1 into 10. Okay. Minus 1 into 10. This much you have. Plus 36C34 minus 1 power 34 into 100. Look, I am looking for last two digits. So this will be some 3 power 73 will be some huge number. Okay. All right. So I'm looking only for the last two digits. So this will be some 100 into something. K. I'll call it K dash. This will be 1000 into K dash dash. I'll call it, and so on. So you can see this is a multiple of 1000. This is a multiple of 100, and so on. Okay. If it's a multiple of 100, what will the last two digits be? 0,
0.
0. If it's a multiple of 1000, what will the last two digits be? Again, 0. So any term henceforth will have last two digits 0, 0. In this expansion, any term from here onwards will have the last two digits as 0, 0. That is what I'm adding up.
Yes, sir.
So all these terms will be a multiple of 100. That's the idea. So I'll write this as 100K. Okay. Now this is 360 minus 360 plus 1, which I'll write as minus 359. Okay. I hope this much was clear to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now I multiply 3 into this. What does this become? Minus 359 into 3. Minus 1077 plus 100 into some big number. Is this much clear, guys? Sorry, plus 300. Basically, the idea is it's some multiple of 100. Okay, this term onwards. This much, is it clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now what I do is, look, I can't write the number as, look, negative, because I know 3 power 73 is not negative by any chance. So I know this will be greater than like another multiple of 100. So from this multiple of 100, okay, from this multiple of 100, I take out the closest multiple of 100 greater than this. So this is some huge multiple of 100, right? Some millions it will be. Okay, not millions, way more than that. Okay. 3 power 73, it's huge. Okay. But this much is a multiple of 100. So from this, I'll take a multiple of 100 that will make up for this negative sign. So from this,
We
I'll
can
take
take 1100, no, sir?
lovely, lovely. That's it. That's it. That is what I'm trying to say here. Correct. All right. I take 1100. I take 1200, 1300. That's your wish. Take 2000 also if you want. Okay. From this, what will happen? You take that multiple of 100 outside. This will still remain a multiple of 100. This 300 will still remain a multiple of 100 if you take a multiple of 100 outside. Now, here, what happens? This, I will make this 1100 interact with minus 1077. What do you get? You get 23 plus some other multiple of 100. Okay. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the multiple of 100 will end with 0, 0, and 23 is the remaining part, and that is what determines the last two digits. I want all of you to see this clearly. So you'll say the last two digits of 3 power 73 is 23. Done. Got this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, even divisibility
Sir.
problems, you write that in terms of what you're dividing it by. Okay, I hope this was clear to all of you. You can find the last two digits, you can find the last 5 digits also if you take the first 5, 6 terms.
Sir,
Okay, yes,
sir, I have a doubt.
yes, please ask.
Sir, I lost my connectivity in between. Why did we take that 1100 there?
So I just took one multiple of 100. Like this is some 300k. So suppose you think that okay, 1200 is the only multiple of 100 I can take from this. Because there's this negative sign here, right? In minus 1001, 1077 is a negative sign. And I know that 3 power 73 is not a negative number. So I know this 300k can compensate for it. It's a huge value. Okay. So from there, I take the multiple of 100 to bring out the last two digits properly. Or what you can do is you can see that the last two digits here in 1077 is minus 77. So the equivalent positive value will be 23. We can think about it like this also.
Yes, sir.
Clearly, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, yes, all right. Now, 2 power 157 divided by 7, find remainder. Okay. Find remainder. What would you do here? So before we were looking for the last n digits, last k digits. So what did we do? When per m, I expressed n in terms of k, right? N equal to 10k plus or minus 1. Right?
Yes, sir.
Wait. When I gave notes, I said if I'm trying to find last k digits, you're writing it as 10k plus or minus 1. No, this k and this k are not related. Last p digits. Okay, just change the note to last p digits. You write n as 10k plus or minus 1, where p and k are not related. Okay, so make sure that is mentioned. Now, to find the remainder here, what do? You write 2 power something. Okay, 2 power 157. So 2 power something in terms of 7 power something plus or minus 1. Okay, that's the idea. You write the base in terms of what you're dividing by. So basically, the previous problem, we were dividing by 10. That's what basically happened. Okay, you're basically finding what all numbers are not divisible by 10 and then adding those up to get your final answer. That's exactly what we did there. So here, 2 power 157, how do we deal with that? I write that as 2 into 2 power 156. Why am I doing that? Because I know that 2 cube, which is 8, can be written as 7 plus 1. Okay, so that's the idea. I'm dividing by 7, right? So I'm trying to express this 2 in terms of 7 plus or minus 1. Or 7 power something plus or minus 1. Okay, so this is 2 cube. So I am looking for a multiple of 3 on top. So like this as 2 into 2 cube raised to 52. So this becomes 2 into 7 plus 1 power 52. Is this clear to everybody?
Sir.
Okay, now this becomes 2 into how do you expand this? 52C0 into 1. 52C0 into 1 power 52, sorry, 52C1 into 1 power 51 into 7 plus 52C2 into 7 square and so on. Is this much clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This address 2. What is 52C0? That's 1. 1 into 1 is 1. Plus. All of these are divisible by 7. So this is what I did. Okay. This address 2 plus 14K. This is divisible by 7. So when I divide this by 7, what is my remainder? Tell me.
0, sir.
Exactly. 2. So when I divide 14K by 7, you get remainder
Oh, yes,
0.
sir.
That's correct.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But
2
this
plus 4.
2 plus 14K. Okay. So that's why I separated the 7 term out. I hope you're getting the logic here. That is all that matters. Once you get the logic, we are finished with the problem. Okay. You can take care of any similar problem like this, but you might have to do extra manipulations. That's it. Okay. Is this clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Right. So that's binomial theorem for you. That is it. Okay. Now, let's move into the next chapter. Matrices and determinants. Start with matrices. Everybody knows what matrices are? Is matrices. Do you know what it is? It's just a rectangular arrangement of elements. Okay, A11, A12, A13, A21, A22. This is like positions. Okay. So I'll say this is a rectangular arrangement of m cross n elements, or in this term, in this case, 2 cross 2. 2 rows and 2 columns. M is number of rows and n is number of columns. Okay. Now, let's begin with this. Okay, what's a row matrix? What's a row matrix? Number of rows
Matrix.
equal to 1. Okay. Row matrix is when the number of rows is equal to 1. What's a column matrix? When the number of columns equal to 1. What's a square matrix? Number of rows equal to number of columns. You know what a diagonal matrix is? Diagonal matrix?
Diagonal
that-
elements are non-zero.
Yes. Non-diagonal elements are all 0. Okay. Okay. Diagonal elements need not all be 0. Okay. Like some can be 0. But then, like the non-diagonal elements should all be 0. So Aij. So this is how we can represent each term. Aij. You saw this, right? A11, A12, A21, A22. A first row, first column. A first row, second column. A21 means A second row, first column. Okay, so like this, Aij equal to 0, where I not equal to j. That's all you're considering. And diagonal matrix only exists for square matrix. You can have rectangular matrices also. All right. So rectangular matrices can look like this: A13, A23. So you see, there are 2 rows and 3 columns here. So this won't have a diagonal matrix. This cannot be a diagonal matrix. All right. Now, here, what's a scalar matrix? Scalar matrix. It's a diagonal matrix. Okay, it's a diagonal matrix where all the diagonal elements have the same value k. Okay. The scalar matrix is a diagonal matrix, which means it will be a square matrix where all the diagonal elements can have the same value k. All right. Are you getting this? Okay, this is easy. I'm just hoping you guys are getting this. Identity matrix is the next part, where it's a scalar matrix where all the elements here are 1 in the diagonal. Okay, so this is a identity matrix. Okay, next comes upper triangular matrix. What's an upper triangular matrix? It means so the square matrix can be divided into three parts. Okay, lower triangle, upper triangle, and the diagonal elements. Okay, so this is where the lower triangle is equal to 0, all the elements. So in the lower triangle, you can notice that the terms would be like, okay, I'll just draw the terms here. A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A3. Okay, this is the matrix. Now you can see the diagonal elements, what will happen? I is equal to J for the diagonal elements. All right. For the lower triangular elements, what can you say? I is greater than J. And for the upper triangular elements, you can say that I is less than J. Okay, so here, when I is greater than J, those elements should be equal to 0. In a lower triangular matrix, Aij is equal to 0, where I is less than J, which means the upper triangle should all be having 0 elements. As in, all elements should be 0. Clear, all of you? Guys, I can't hear you. Can you speak?
Yes, sir.
Right. Here. Now, some of diagonal elements is called trace. So trace is only there for square matrices, obviously, because you're looking at diagonal elements and all. So it means it's a square matrix. So this is called trace. Basically, trace is equal to sigma A I. That's the idea. Okay. All right. Next comes equality of matrices. When do you say two matrices are equal? When the number of rows are the same, when number of columns are the same, and each element in their respective positions are the same. Okay, this is for the equality of matrices. And what do we have? Okay, you know how to multiply matrices?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's the condition for multiplying matrices?
Number of columns of the first matrix should be equal to number of rows of the second matrix.
Okay, if it's m into n plus p into q, then this is the order of each matrix, meaning that n is equal to p. Number of columns of the first matrix is equal to number of rows of the second matrix. Correct? 3 1 3. So that's the only condition you need to check. All right, rest everything can be fine. Now B21, B22, B23. Okay, so this is 3 rows and 2 columns. This is 2 rows and 3 columns. But you're not checking M and Q. You are only checking N and P. And the answer will come in the form of M cross Q. All right. The answer that you get after multiplying will be of the form M cross Q. All right. So if this was realized by C, so A11 into A12, sorry, A11 into B11 plus A12 into B21 is equal to C11. Similarly, A11 into B12 plus A12 into B21 2, 2 equal to C12, A11, A11 into B13 plus A12 into B23 is C13. So like this goes. So C21, C22, C23, C31, C32, C33. Right. So this is how you multiply. So basically CII can be written as sigma K equal to 1 to P of AIK B K J. Is this clear? Sorry, Cij will be like this. Find any term, and this is how we mathematically represent this process. Any doubts here, guys?
No, sir.
All right. Then there are some points of theory. Multiplication is not commutative. Basically, A into B need not be equal to B into A. Then, but multiplication is associative in the sense that AB into C equal to A into BC. So it doesn't matter which one you calculate first. Just that you shouldn't change the order of multiplication. That's what matters. Because if you change the order, it's not necessary you can even multiply them. All right. If you change the order, M cross N, P cross Q. So if you change the order as P cross Q and M cross N, the condition changes. Q should be equal to M here. We have N should be equal to P. But the condition changes. This need not be true. In our case, it's 2 cross 3 and 3 cross 2. So it comes out to be true. But it need not be true. All right. Depends on the elements also. Okay. Now, this is distributive. Yes. A into B plus C can be written as AB plus AC. Okay, so basically you can remove the bracket, it's associative. Then if you multiply by unit matrix, which is called I is how I call unit matrix. You remember what unit matrix is? It's the identity matrix. Only diagonal terms will be there, it'll all be 1. So you multiply that with any matrix A, you will get A itself. Okay, so but it should be multipliable. So that should be the order of I. That is also important. Okay. Now, if AB is equal to AC, then you can conclude that B is equal to C. Also, when you multiply by null matrix, A cross 0 equal to 0 into A equal to 0. You know what null matrix is? All the elements are 0. Is this much clear for everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Suppose AB and BA exist. Then you can say that trace of AB will be equal to the trace of BA. Just remember this angle. Okay. There are a few more points to remember. You multiply two diagonal matrices, you get a diagonal matrix. You multiply two triangular matrices, you get a triangular matrix. You multiply two scalar matrices, you get a scalar matrix. Okay, one more point you can notice that AB equal to 0. So when you get AB equal to 0, it does not mean that, does not imply A equal to 0 or B equal to 0. If you have two numbers A into B equal to 0, you can say that either A is equal to B 0 or B is equal to 0. But in matrix multiplication, it might turn out that both are not 0. A or B are not 0. But when you multiply, you can get 0. Okay, it is possible. So one example would be 0, 2, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. Okay, so this comes out to 0, 0, 0, 0. I hope this much was okay with everybody. Okay, now let's expand a few things. A plus B the whole square. How do you expand this? Matrices, okay, matrix. How do we expand a plus b the whole square? Guys, this is easy. Come on, quickly.
A square plus 2ab plus b square.
Okay, you're almost correct, except for the 2ab part. What is happening here is that I write this as a plus b into a plus b. Okay, so I see a into a is a square, a into b is ab, b into a is ba, and b into b is b square. So this is what it comes out to. So 2ab, it's not 2ab, it's ab plus ba. Both need not be equal. Okay, that's the game here. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what about a minus b the whole square? What can you write that as? A square plus b square minus ab minus ba. Right. Then what about a minus b into a plus b? A square minus b square plus ab minus ba. What about a into minus b? This can be written as minus a into b. That is not an issue. You're multiplying by minus 1 basically into the. It can be written as minus of a into b. All right. Next, we'll deal with the powers of matrix. Powers of the matrix tell me that a power m into a power n is a power m plus n. Similarly, a power m raised to n is a power mn. Then I power m is equal to I power n, which is equal to I. Then some matrix raised to 0 is in, where n is the order of square matrix A. So for A square to exist itself, what do you need? A should be able to multiply with A. So if A is m into n and this A is m into n, we need the condition that m equal to n. Right? So that's why A should be a square matrix for it to be squared, cubed, or whatever. Okay. Is this much clear, guys? Guys, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do one question. A is 2, 3, minus 1 and 2. And f of x is x square minus 4x plus 7. Show that f of a equal to 0. And let's use this to find a power 4. Okay. How do we deal with this? We find f of a first, right? F of a will be a square minus 4a plus 7. So you'll have to multiply to get a square. 2, 3 minus 1, 2. 2, 3, 2 minus 4 into 2, 3 minus 1, 2 plus 7. So when you write f of a, okay, it's not a square minus 4a plus 7. It's a square minus 4a plus
Sir,
7.
isn't it 2a squared?
Why 2a squared? Huh?
Oh, okay, sir. I thought that equal to was 2.
Oh, no. Sorry about the handwriting. It's equal to only. Okay. Equal to 2. Okay. So this is what you get. So now what do you do? 2 into 2, 4. 3 into minus 1, minus 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. Then 2 into 3 is 6. 3 into 2 is 6. This is 12. Minus 1 into 2. And minus 2 is minus 4. Minus 3 plus 4 becomes 1. So this is what you get when you multiply both. And then when you multiply this with the scalar quantity 4, what happens? Each and every term inside will multiply by 4. That's what happens. Okay. 4 into minus 1 is minus 4. 4 into 2 is 8. What do you get? Plus 7i it is. Okay, so that comes out to 7700. I is what? 1100. In this context, it's 2 plus 2. Okay, and then you simply add all of them up. What do you get here? You get 0 here, you get 0 here, 0 and 0, right? So you get f of A equal to null matrix. Right, so this is one conclusion you can make from here. A square minus 4a plus 7i equal to 0. So you can use a square here. A square equal to 4a minus 7i. Okay, so without multiplying a into a, you can find a square. But where am I using it? To find higher powers of it. Okay, so if I'm finding a cube, I'll write that as a into a square, which I'll further write as a into 4a minus 7a. Right, so then it becomes 4a square minus 7a. Now a square, again, I'll write that as 4a minus 7a. So it becomes 4a minus 7i minus 7a. It becomes 16a minus 7a, which is 9a minus 28i. This is a cube. Similarly, you can find a power 4. You're writing a cube as a linear in a. The idea is to stop multiplying continuously. Okay. So to find a power 4 or a power 5, what do? You go step by step. A power 4 will be a cube into a, and a cube I have it in terms of a as 9a minus 28a. When I multiply that with a, it becomes 9a square minus 28a. And a square I know is 4a minus 7i. Are you all with me here?
So
I'm just
So we
writing it in
can
terms
do
of a.
a power 4 as a square into a square, no sir?
Yes, you can do that. But then there'll be another a square which you have to again convert. That's absolutely fine. You can absolutely do that. You get the same answer. Okay. So I hope all of you got this problem.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when you write a square, you will represent it as 4a minus 7a. The other a square will be the same. And then there'll be a 16a square term. And that you use this relation again on top of it to get it as a linear in a. Okay, you can solve this on your own. All right. Now,
Sir, can you scroll up for 1 second?
yes. Is this much scrolling enough or?
Yes, sir, I got it.
Tell me once you're done, please.
Yes, sir, done, sir.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So look at the next subtopic, transpose. What's a transpose? How do you find the transpose of this?
Interchange
You
the rows and
interchange the
columns.
rows and columns. So the first row becomes the first column and the second row becomes the second column. Right? This is A. Then this will be A transpose. Interchange the rows and columns. That's it. Okay. Let's do properties of transpose. A transpose, the whole transpose is A itself. A plus or minus B transpose is A transpose plus or minus B transpose. Then AB transpose, guys, this is important, will be written as B transpose into A transpose. Then K, which is a scalar, into A transpose can be written as K into A transpose separately. Like you can remove the bracket here. Okay, basically the idea is this. If each term in this was like this, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, this was A. I can write this as 2 into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now A transpose is nothing but first row becomes first column. So 2, 4. Second row becomes second column. Third row becomes third column. And here I can take 2 common outside. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got this? What's going on? K into A transpose is K into A. The whole thing transpose is K into A transpose. You simply take K outside. Now, if you have n elements here, A1, A2, all the way up till An, and you want to find the transpose of its product, what do? Same thing you did here. A transpose, A into B transpose, what do? You take the second one, the last one first, okay? So B transpose, and then you multiply that with A transpose. So here you take the last one, An transpose, An minus 1 transpose, all the way up till A1 transpose. It should be clear to you. All right. Next, we have some trivial properties. I transpose is I itself. And we have trace of A and trace of A transpose to be the same. Okay, this is about transpose and its properties. Now, can you tell me what a symmetric matrix is? Matrix. What's a symmetric matrix? When A and its transpose are the same. Okay, just put 5. You can put anything you want, rectangular arrangement of elements. 4, 4. If there's 5 here, there'll be 5 here. If there's 2 here, there'll be a 2 here. Okay, this is a symmetric matrix. If you write the transpose, you get the same thing. That's the idea. Okay. Every row and the column are the same. I hope you're getting this. So if A is symmetric, if A is symmetric, then A, K into A minus A inverse, and B transpose into A into B. They are all symmetric matrices. Okay. Right. Then there's another type of symmetricity. It's called skew symmetric matrices. You know what a skew symmetric matrix is? What is a skew symmetric
A
matrix?
transpose is equal to minus A.
Lovely. This is a skew symmetric matrix. So here the trace is 0 always. For a skew symmetric matrix, the trace is 0 always. Or for a skew symmetric matrix, the diagonal elements are all 0. Okay. So for A transpose, you can see that A11 will be the first diagonal element. Minus of A means the first diagonal element of this matrix, the RHS matrix, will be minus A11. Okay, so this is applicable to any this thing. If you take any diagonal element, so I put aii will be equal to minus ai, or in other words, 2aii equal to 0. Basically, the diagonal elements are all 0. Okay, we get diagonal element 0, which means trace of it will be 0. The sum of zeros will be 0. Now, if A is skew symmetric, I want you to remember this. If A is skew symmetric, then you can say that A power 2n is symmetric. A power 2n plus 1 is skew symmetric, and K into A is also skew symmetric. All right. Have you noted all this down?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next comes an important concept. It's called determinant of a matrix. We haven't started the chapter determinants, but to give you an idea what a determinant is. What is a determinant?
The magnitude.
Yeah, it's something like magnitude. You give it a value. Correct. All right. It means the matrix should be full of numbers, and you have decided to give the matrix a value. So till now, matrices were nothing but a rectangular arrangement. Okay, it didn't have a value as such. So just arranging some numbers in this form, we can manipulate it in this number of ways. All right. So matrices are used to make calculations easier, like for computers and all. Okay, so you've seen, right? You write one computer program, it will give output like this fast. Okay. The idea is it solves many equations together at the same time. And how does that happen? Using matrices. That's the idea. Okay. Like this fast you get answers. That is because they're using matrices properly. Okay. So anyway, determinants is this. So when I'm looking at A11, A12, A13, A1, 22, 23. Okay. So we have this determinant here. So determinant, how do you calculate determinant? A11 into A22 into A33 minus A23 into A32 minus A12 into A21 into A33 minus A31 into A23 plus A13 into A21 A32 minus A31 A22. This is how you find the determinant of a 3 cross 3 matrix in particular. Okay, so a determinant, okay, a matrix is called singular if the determinant is equal to 0. So it's non-singular if determinant of A is not equal to 0. I hope you're writing notes diligently right now. Okay, you don't need to write this part and all. Just focus on this part. Singular, non-singular. Okay. So now write properties. Now, determinant of A exists. What does that mean? A is a square matrix. This is important. Determinant exists only for square matrices. Then, determinant of A into B can be written as determinant of A into determinant of B. Now, determinant of A transpose and A will be the same. Okay, now K into A. K into A has determinant what? K power n into determinant A, where n is the order of A, the size of A. Okay, number of rows or number of columns, that's the order. Okay, did you understand what happens here? So suppose I multiply each of these with K. what happens here? Each of these will also have k attached to it, right? So I'll just put it into the first part. So here I can take what? I can take k cube common. And then I get A11 into A22, A33 minus A23 into A32. Are you following what happened to the first part? Same thing will happen to the second and third part. So you can take k cube common. So k will be taken. So imagine it like this. K will be taken from each row or column separately out. Okay. All right. In determinants, you would have learned this property by now. Okay. In your school itself. So, but are you understanding what's happening here? Guys, are you following or not?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, for a skew symmetric matrix of odd order, you say that determinant of A equal to 0. Only when it's odd order, okay? When the number of rows or number of columns is odd, you can say determinant of A is 0. Then, if A is a diagonal matrix, then you can say determinant A is equal to A11 into A22 into A33 up till ANN. Okay, basically it's the product of the diagonal elements. If A is a diagonal matrix, you say the determinant of A is the product of the diagonal elements. Okay, now the last property here would be A power n, determinant of A power n is determinant of A power n. Determinant of A raised to n equal to determinant of A power n. Okay. All right. Now, you guys know what an adjoint is? Adjoint. Are you writing notes, guys? Are you with me till here?
Yes, sir.
Those are things you already know, so I'm just going in with note basis. Okay. Next comes adjoint. Adjoint is the transpose of the cofactor matrix. All right. So adjoint is a matrix basically, which is the transpose of a cofactor matrix. We're back into matrices now. Okay. Now, what is a cofactor matrix? It is a signed minor. Cofactor matrix is a signed minor. Basically, if okay, so you have your standard 3x3 matrix, suppose. A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, and so on. So for A11, okay, you will find the minor. The minor will be M11. Okay, this is given by, so you have a matrix here, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Okay. So in place of A, you're trying to find the minor here. All right, in place of A, what do you put? The determinant of E, F, H, I. So basically, you remove the row, you remove the column. Whatever remains, you put it in determinant sign. Okay? Yeah? I hope so. Okay, so this is there for minor. So the cofactor matrix, okay, the cofactor would be P11, which is the sign minor. Sign minor means -1 power 1 plus 1 into M11. Similarly, for A12, what do? You find the minor. Minor will be what? M12. So you look at A12, remove this and this. Okay. So that will become DFGI. So the cofactor will be C12, be -1 power 1 plus 2, 12. So like this, you do it for the remaining 7 terms as well. The total 9 terms here. So you do it for the 7 terms and write the cofactor matrix. Okay.
Sir,
Cofactor
the
matrix.
cofactor matrix can also be represented as capital A, no, sir?
Capital?
Capital A.
No, I'm assuming this is A. I'm using
Okay,
A
sir.
for it. Are you talking about adjoint?
No, sir.
That is ADJ. That is what we use generally. Generally, we don't
Okay,
use
sir.
A for cofactor matrix. You can name it A. You can name it anything you want, basically. Okay. You can name it A. Then all you can go for it. But like for standardized way of teaching, I'm doing it this way. Cofactor is C. M is minor. Minor looks like this. Okay, step by step. I hope you're getting this. So cofactor matrix will be what? C11, C12, C13, and so on. Okay. But the adjoint is the transpose of the cofactor matrix. So I'll call it Cij. So Cij transpose is the adjoint. Okay, you do the transpose of it, you have the adjoint. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want you to notice something very important. Properties. Okay, A11 into C11. So A11, A12 is the original this thing. Okay, original matrix. A11, C11, A12, C12, A13, C13. What is this? This is the determinant. Okay, this is how we find the determinant. All right. You take element from any row or any column and multiply with its corresponding cofactors. With its corresponding cofactors. Like if you take any column like A21, A22, A23. Okay. You multiply with its corresponding cofactors. C21, C22, C23. You add them up. You always get the determinant of the original matrix. All right. So you can immediately get 9 ways to calculate matrix for 3 cross 3. Right? You just pick a row and find its cofactors and multiply each part of the row by that cofactor and add them up. Okay. So you can pick a row in 3 ways. Sorry, you can do it in 6 ways. 6 ways of finding determinant you will find right now. No? You take the first row, multiply with its corresponding cofactors to get determinant. You take the second row, multiply with its corresponding cofactors to get determinant. Take third row, multiply with corresponding cofactors to get determinant. Okay, you can do it for the same. You can do the same with columns also. All right. So this is an important property. So please understand this. Okay. If you don't believe me, please verify it when you get the time. Now, if I take one row and multiply with the cofactors of another row, okay, you will always get 0. So if I take one column and multiply it with its cofactors, corresponding cofactors from another column, you will always get 0. Okay. Right. So if you understood properly, if you understood this properly, you can easily prove this. Okay, I would suggest you remember this for now. A into adjoint A equal to determinant of A into what? Identity matrix. Basically, the non-diagonal terms will all be 0. Only the diagonal terms will be determinant A, determinant A, determinant A, determinant A. Like that. Okay, so this is same as adjoint A into A as well. So adjoint A into A is always a scalar matrix. This is important. Please understand this. Adjoint A into A is always a scalar matrix. All right. Okay. Now the next property I want you to notice, this is an important property. Okay, adjoint A into A. It's very useful. Now, determinant of adjoint A will be what? How do you find the determinant of adjoint A? Take this above property. Adjoint A into A is determinant of A into In. So I put this on top of it. Okay, I put determinant on top of this. Then I get into two parts. Determinant of A into B is determinant of A into determinant of B, right? Determinant of K. K is the scalar. Okay, this is a scalar, determinant of A. All right, this is a scalar which is multiplied into this. So you have to imagine a determinant like this, a matrix like this, sorry. All right, suppose it was 3 cross 3. This will look like this. So how can you take a scalar out of a determinant? You take it from each column or each row. That's the idea. Okay. So from each column, you take this as. So suppose it has n dimension. N. Okay, not 3 cross 3, it has n. So A power n comes out. Determinant A power n comes out. And then you're left with determinant I, which is 1. Determinant of I will always be 1. Okay. So from here you can say that adjoint A has determinant A as determinant A raised to n minus 1. So remember this. Okay, this is also important. Then we'll do other properties. Adjoint of adjoint A can be written as determinant of A n minus 2 into A. So in this important property I told you, the first one, A into adjoint A, replace A with adjoint A. Okay, replace A with adjoint A. That's your game. Okay, you'll get here. Now, determinant of adjoint A. What do you do here? Okay, these are the types of questions that can be asked. Okay, determinant of adjoint A. What do you do? So you have this determinant of adjoint A equal to determinant A raised to n minus 1. So replace A with adjoint A. Okay. Are you following? Replace A with adjoint A. Now, determinant of adjoint A we already know is determinant A raised to n minus 1. So this is raised to n minus 1. So this becomes determinant A raised to n minus 1 whole square. You understand what we did here? Replace A with adjoint A. That's all. Okay. All right. Are you writing properties, guys? All of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll write the next properties. Adjoint A transpose is adjoint A, the whole transpose. Then adjoint AB equal to adjoint of AB. So we use that same rule we learned. So we take B first and then we take A next. Then adjoint A power M. Adjoint A power M can be written as adjoint A, the whole raised to M. Okay. Then adjoint of K into A can be written as K power n minus 1, where K is a scalar, into adjoint A. Now, adjoint of identity value is identity itself. Adjoint of I is I, and adjoint of 0, null matrix, is 0 again. All right. So this much properties we have for adjoint. Okay. Then I want you to understand inverse. All right. Inverse, A inverse is given by mod A into adjoint A. Okay. All right. Just, I'm sure all of you know this from before, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is the reason we find adjoint only. We learn adjoint to understand inverse. Okay. A inverse equal to 1 by determinant A into adjoint A. So inverse, one property is it exists only for non-singular matrices. Okay. Inverse exists only for non-singular matrices. Non-singular matrices means determined away not equal to 0. Okay. So basically it's like dividing by 0. Just think like that, okay? That's why it should be non-singular matrix. Now, some properties again. A transverse inverse is A inverse transverse. Then A B inverse is B inverse A inverse. Remember that rule? Last one comes first. Now, similarly, A B C inverse. Then witness C inverse B inverse A inverse. Okay. Then comes A par K inverse, which comes up to A inverse par K. Now, where K is any integral value. Where K is any natural number, actually, not integer value, it will be natural number. Yeah. Now, adjoint of A inverse can be written as adjoint of A, the inverse. Now, this is interesting. A inverse is A itself. Next. A inverse determinant will be 1 by determinant A. Can be written as determinant A raised to -1. If A is a diagonal matrix, so I'll write that as A is diagonal, A1, A2, A3, all the way up till AN. This just means that A is a matrix like this, A1, A2, A3, up till AN. All other elements will be 0, right? It's a diagonal matrix. Only the diagonal values exist. Okay, rest will be 0. So I can say that A inverse will be diagonal. This is a beautiful property which can be used once in a while. They hardly ask, but still. A1 inverse, A2 inverse, A3 inverse, up till AN inverse. Okay, so this you can do. So to find the inverse of any diagonal matrix, it's much easier. Just replace the diagonal terms with its reciprocals. Okay, so do that. We get this. Now, you know how to simultaneously solve linear equations, right? Using row and column transformation. Guys, do you know row and column transformation?
Yes, sir.
I don't know, sir.
Row and column transformation is basically applying transforms to get it to the original form. Basically, I put this. Okay, so you have a question given to you. We will practice it with a question. Actually. Take one question. Okay. You have A equal to 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 1. Okay. This is for your school exam, not for JEE. Okay. So I didn't really want to get too much into it, but we'll quickly do one problem. Okay. So you're asked to find what is A inverse. Okay. So the idea, how you started this is A into I equal to I into A. This much you agree with, right? Next, some fancy steps happen here. Row and column transformation. You can add rows, you can add columns. That's your
Okay, sir. This one I know, sir.
This one you know. So the idea is to convert A into I. All right, that's the idea. So what will happen there is once you convert A into I becomes so I into something. Once this becomes this I here should also be transformed at the same time. Whatever transform you do for A is the same thing you apply for I, and then I becomes A inverse. So from here you can extract A inverse. That's the idea of this. Okay. So I hope everybody has done this before. It's just for the school exams, but I would like to practice a couple of problems now. Okay, based on what we did. Okay. So this is the type of questions that come for GE. That is what I want you to focus on. So A and B are square matrices such that B is equal to minus A inverse B into A. Find a plus b the whole square. I'll give you some options. Start solving. Start solving. Okay, consider this like a mini test paper. And start solving. 5-minute test paper it is. A plus b. Okay, next question. A cube equal to 0. Then plus a square equal to. Okay, so I'll start solving. The first problem, any guesses, guys? Any guesses? A very easy problem. Thing is, you don't know the power you have right now. That's the thing. Because I talked so fast, you actually don't realize what all you can do here. So b is equal to this much, right? So pre-multiply both sides by a. You can do that. You can post-multiply, you can pre-multiply. This is the actual teaching part. This is what I wanted to get to from the beginning. Okay, so pre-multiply both sides by, you get AB here, you get minus A into A inverse into BA, right? Are you with me here, guys?
Yes, sir.
Why am I pre-multiplying with A? Because I see A inverse coming first here. Okay, so if I multiply that with A, they cancel out to become I. So basically, I obtain AB equal to minus BA. So A square plus B square can be written as A square plus B square plus AB plus BA. Now I have that AB is equal to minus BA, right? They will cancel out. I get my answer as A square plus B square. B will be my correct answer. Are you getting it till here? Did you get this? If you're not getting this, please ask. This is the important part. This is where I want you to learn. Okay, this is where you're applying all the skills you developed right now. Are you following? Guys, please
Yes, sir.
respond. If it's a no, tell me it's no. I'll re-explain. That's why.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the next question is a cube equal to 0. We need to find this p equal to I plus a squared. Okay. I plus a square is p. This is what I need to find. This is equal to what? I'll simply multiply this with a, p into a. Because there's no a inverse directly here in the question. So I'll multiply it with a. So what does this become? A plus a square plus a cube. Am I right? Guys, when I multiply, simply multiply this with a, what do you get? A plus a square plus a cube. And we know that a cube is 0. We're going to use this. Okay. So I have from here that a plus a square is PA. From here, I can write that P is equal to I plus a square. So that a plus a square, I'll replace it with PA. And I'll take it across to this side. Basically, I'll write as P into I minus a equal to I. Is this much clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, how do I get I? I have to multiply I minus a with I minus a inverse, right? To get I. Like A into A inverse is I. Okay.
Sir, I didn't
A-
understand the part where P is equal to identity matrix plus P.
Okay, okay, okay. So I have this as P. Okay. Hmm? Now I take this and multiply it with A. Okay, so PA becomes A plus A square plus A cube. Understood this much?
Yes, sir, this much I understood.
A cube becomes 0. As in, sorry, A cube becomes null matrix. It goes off. So I get PA equal to A plus A square. This is what I get. You're with me till here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But we had in our relation that P is equal to I plus A square. So from here I can say that A plus A square is nothing but P minus I. They bring it here as P minus I. Okay, so I just replace this A plus A square with P minus I. Now I have PA equal to P minus I. Is this much clear?
Yes, sir, got it, sir.
Okay, now you got the whole thing, right? You just rearrange the whole thing. Okay. Now, this part, was it clear? This is the important part. So, if you have a matrix A, it can multiply only with its inverse to give I. No other matrix can give I. Okay. So, P will be the inverse of I minus A. That should be a conclusion when you see this P into I minus A equal to I. Okay. A matrix multiplies only with its inverse to give I. That's the idea here. Okay. Crystal clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
So here you can say that P and P inverse equal to I, or I minus A into I minus A inverse is equal to I. So from here you can see that I minus A and P are I minus A inverse and P are basically the same thing. So again, B will be a correct answer. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
Any doubts
Yes,
regarding today's class? Yes, yes, yes.
No, sir.
Ask.
No, sir, I thought you weren't. You're going to take extra time, and I have to go to school like soon, very soon.
Yeah.
So,
The class is done. Don't worry, don't worry. Go to school, have fun, and please try to solve previous year JE papers. Okay. Please start doing that. It's about time. Okay. Previous year JE papers should be your top priority. Start with last year's. Don't worry. I know you are like short on time. When you go to school, also start solving. Okay. JE papers, because your priority should be set. Those who are studying for JE properly, your JE is coming soon. So please prioritize accordingly. Okay. Right. So yeah,
Yes,
that's the only advice I have for you. And yeah, class is done for today. So if you have any doubts, please ask. We're done.
thank you, sir.
Thank you,
No
sir.
doubt.
Thank you. Yes, yes, yes.
No doubt, sir.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And take care, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Take care.